Hey everyone, welcome to the Devil's Advocates podcast. I'm JP. This is episode 0. We're just going to introduce ourselves. So I'm going to turn it over to Jake, our other co-host, and then after that, the BrattPack. So Jake, take it away.
So I'm Jake, member here of the Devil's Advocates. I'm currently putting out a daily YouTube series called Good Morning Devils Fans, where I'm just talking about whatever is happening in the Devils sphere. Right now, free agency is the focus, which we'll talk a little bit about today. And as we progress further and further into the offseason, we'll see what happens, especially as we hit the dead moments of August. It'll be interesting to see what content we are able to pump out. Me personally, I've been a Devils fan for life since the moment I was born, a little over 30 years now. I brought into this fandom thanks to my father and grandfather, who had me watch almost every game, took me to games at the Meadowlands. Vivid memories of walking the tunnel for any of you that have been there. I'm sure you have distinct memories of that as well. And now, 30 years later, I'm raising 2 kids of my own with my wife. Big Devils family. Took my daughter to her first game back in October of this season, which even after witnessing 3 cup runs, vivid memories of at least 2 of them, as I was 4 years old for the first one. It was that October game with my daughter, probably my favorite game ever. We did thankfully win it, but having that experience with her is something I will remember for the rest of my life. That's really the base of where I come from. Die hard, always, never turn a game off early, watch every single game. And I always find a way to cheer on the team and keep an optimistic outlook of our players and the team, and extend that a little bit to coaching and management and ownership. But basically, as you go up the ladder, my homerism drops off with each step. So you pretty much will never hear me talk down on a player too much unless it is just absolutely atrocious and there's no way around it. I try to always give reasonable thoughts on it. As you get to know me and hear my opinions on things, you'll see exactly what I mean. But yeah, that's me. You'll be seeing a lot of me over this offseason, that's for sure.
BP, over to you.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you follow along on Devil's Twitter, you probably know I go by the BrattPack. I've been also a Devils fan pretty much my whole life. I think my dad took me to my first game when I was about 5 years old. So he still doesn't understand hockey. It's hilarious because he has taken me to probably about 50 games in his life. I've gone to many more myself, but he's been to like 50 games and still really has no idea what's going on. But he sees how happy it made me and decided to keep bringing me to the games. So starting out my Devils career, huge shout out to him. But I've been a Devils fan for a really long time. I didn't really join the Devils fan community till about 2 years ago. Honestly, I didn't really know it existed. I always thought that, fans were fans. You go to games, you cheer on the team, whatever. I didn't really realize that social media and stuff had created such a community. So once I found out about it, I decided to hop right in. And I mean, if you know who I am at all, in the past 2 years, it's been kind of a whirlwind of craziness for the BrattPack. We've done a lot of cool stuff, but I look at this, Devil's Advocates podcast as the next leg of the cool and exciting stuff that's happening. I'm happy to have somewhere to kind of hang out, share some opinions, have some laughs, and have fun with the boys over here. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course, man. We're glad to have you on. So yeah, as I said earlier, I'm JP. A little bit about my Devils background. I was also born into, hockey. Both of my folks were huge Devils fans. They were both born and raised in New Jersey, so they had to root for the Devils because there was really no other sports team in the area. But yeah, my dad got me super into hockey probably when I was like 2. He tried to get me to play, but like little toddler me wasn't having any of it. So I didn't really pursue that. But I've always, been following the team and kind of their success or lack thereof. I really super got into hockey probably in the 2012 Cup run. I know that's kind of a casual take, but they were fun to watch. So how could I ignore them? And then I took a hiatus from 2013 to like 2017 until we drafted Nico. and then I kind of got more into it, and then more recently, 2-3 years ago, I got super into like analytics and studying like hockey metrics and stuff. So that's kind of where my main focus is at now. Um, I do some writing for Infernal Access. So I work with Todd Cordell, Alex Chauvency. Those guys are awesome. Love what they do. Could not be happier to be doling out content with them. And then I should be doing some stuff pretty soon with the hockey writers. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that one. But other than that, I'm super stoked to be starting this podcast with you guys. I'm really excited to put more content out there because I think there's kind of a lack of content out there for the Devils. So yeah, super stoked.
That's a great point. Probably for all of us, the lack of content, probably at least it kind of drove me to start up that daily series here this season. I watch and consume probably every second of every piece of Devils media out there, from articles from the big guys to small publications, podcasts, YouTube series. Not as much TikTok and Instagram, but those still make their way to me somehow, usually via like Reddit or Discord, which is really where I threw myself into the Devils fandom. Joined Reddit back in 2008, 2009, give or take. And of course found the Devils subreddit when that came to be, and was always part of that. Went to a meetup in Belmar for the 2012 Cup run. There was a at the bar, one of the bars there. It's a nice meetup for one of the finals games, and went there. I actually had the Devils logo shaved into the side of my head. So if you happen to be there and remember that was me. And then from there, the Discord really got started when Nico was drafted, and was heavily involved with that. That's where I met JP. BrattPack obviously ended up joining there as well, as I'm not too much of a Twitter guy, but I somehow still end up seeing almost every single thought and opinion that comes through Twitter. So yeah, it'll be a fun time on here, I think, being able to not only touch on the analytics. I value them. I understand them. I use them. I will refer to them to back up what I feel like I am seeing. But I'm definitely of the opinion that I have a fairly impeccable eye test. I've watched almost every game of this team. I watch a ton of hockey, not just Devils, for over 30 years now. And, I don't know if it's just an innate eye to pick up on certain things. I probably could not tell you too many X's and O's. I never played hockey. But watching a game in person or on TV, I can just feel the vibe of the game. I can tell when a guy is playing well off the puck, on, and just all of that. So again, as we get into this, keep talking more about not just the team, but especially as we get into this season. I hope to showcase that and bring those thoughts and opinions to the Devils community at large, and hopefully stir some conversations and get some good ones going, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that disagree with me, even if they're wrong.
It's funny that we almost have a bit of a hierarchy here in terms of eye test versus analytics, because we have Jake, you feel a little bit of both, use a little bit of both. JP, I know you're like super into the weeds of really the more minute stuff, and then me, as much as I accept that those things are true, and I don't deny analytics or whatever, I am more of the kind of guy who just shows up to the game, and when the puck goes into the net and the red light goes off, I stand up and cheer. And that's really all I'm interested in. Like I cannot tell you who is doing well off the puck, man. I watch puck go in net, I cheer. That's it. Right? Like I'm here to vibe along with you guys, and sure, I do have a good idea of what I'm watching here, but I truly do believe at the end of the day, as hockey fans, it's like, team do bad, I sad. Team do good, I happy.
Dude,
it's like
I gotta say, whenever I see you post like a JFresh chart in one of your tweets, like it makes my heart super happy. Oh man, but I will say, Jake, your eye test is just it's so good for no reason. I've never met anyone with like a consistently good like eye test until I met you.
Yeah, I have no rhyme or reason for it. Like I said, never played in any capacity. I never went to games outside of Devils, like NHL games.
Right.
It's not like I had a high school team I would go to or a college team or anything like that. Just watching every game start to finish for years and years and years, and just picking up on the nuances of the game through that. And it hasn't failed me yet, and I'm sticking with it.
So if I can toss out, let's get our first. I know this is episode 0, we're just doing introductions, but if we're gonna throw the eye test versus analytics argument out this early, I think the kind of litmus test for this is, what are your opinions on Damon Severson as a hockey player?
Love him.
Love them.
Let's go. Let's go.
As I said from the top, you probably will almost never hear me badmouth a Devils player.
He's not a Devils player.
Oh, he's got you there.
This is very true. I think Damon is a very good hockey player who absolutely thrived in a third line role and could be the second man on a really strong top line. Like if he had like maybe not necessarily McCarr, but like Slavin on his opposite side, I think he could really thrive there. But an impeccable second line guy, and then obviously flourishes on like a third line.
Yeah, he absolutely ate up third pair roles. Yeah,
Was unfair.
It was pathetic. It was horrible for other teams. Yeah, I love him. I love him. I think he was good in this third pair role, obviously, second pair role, first pair role. Like I just love Severson. He was one of my favorite players. And I think a lot of that actually had to do with because a lot of people didn't like him. So like I felt the need as someone who like looked at the stats and saw a lot of blue. We know that blue is good, red is bad. We saw a lot of blue with Severson. So as someone who was watching Devils fans like constantly bash the guy, like I felt like I had to defend him, and he became probably like one of, if not my favorite player, at least this year, and probably last year too.
First, Rangers fans, don't clip that. Blue awful, red awesome.
Yes.
Second, I think where people really got hung up on Damon was it's very obvious eye test, especially when you see the single mess up, a flub of a play where it's just obvious. When a lot of people you have that instinctual gut reaction to anyone that first game watching hockey could be at a bar, first game, it's on the TV, they could look up, see that flub and be like, that's not good. And
right.
It's that, and if you're not watching every game, really in the weeds of it, you may not pick up on the small things he does do really well, because he has those flub plays. Because when he tries to do something like those, like 180-foot stretch passes, or small little chip plays up the boards, where if it does connect, it's now a secondary pass right out of the zone and up on a transition play. Where if it does get picked off, that's where the flub comes in, and it's a big mistake and obvious. But if you weigh those flubs and how often they happen, which with Damon happened, like every few or so games they happen. But you weigh that versus all the great stuff he did do, you take it every time. You're gonna take those mess up.
I could not agree with you more there. That was, I know that was why people hated him. Like he had the Severson flub every 5 games, like where it's just like, dude, like why did you do that? Why were you even remotely close to doing that? But at the other side of the spectrum, like you said, all of the other little things he did were great. And for the most part, he was really just solid in both zones, to be honest. BP, what are your opinions on Severson? That's what I want to know.
I actually agree with you guys a lot. I actually liked him a lot. I do think he got treated unfairly by Devils fans. And I think it's funny that I almost already had a little full circle epiphany where I think I understand why I do buy into analytics and appreciate them, is because even if I don't know how they work, like I said, puck go in goal, good, cheer. It's the same thing. It's like, blue good, red bad. I can do that. We're good. I can. That's something that I can get
That's
behind.
all you need to know. Yeah.
Exactly. No, but I mean, I think anyone, if you have even like past one layer of thinking, can come to terms with the fact that he was really, really good 95% of the time and really, really bad 5% of the time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the highlight reels, show the 5% because they're so, fantastically awful. But I really liked him in his time there, and honestly, I know this doesn't count for anything on the ice, but he seemed to really like New Jersey, and he seemed to really like being a Devil, and he stuck around through all the terrible, terrible years. And you can't blame him for taking an 8-year, $6 million deal somewhere else, especially when the Devils approach him and say, hey, look, you should probably go take that deal. Like, we're not going to give it to you. So if you get offered it, like, go take it. So I don't think there's even like, if he got an offer from the Devils, he would have taken it. So there's been so many players to leave us over the past, 10 years, even in such bad blood, that for a guy like him to be a good hockey player, liked being here, and generally gave his career to being a Devil before he could chase the bag somewhere else. I got nothing but love for him. I'm a big Severson fan. Although he did go to Columbus, so now actually I'm out. I'm out. We're done.
Dude went to Ohio.
I got one last thing on Sevo before we move on, because this is supposed to be episode 0. We don't want to get too much into the weeds here.
Of course.
You brought up highlights, and obviously, like day 1 and 2 into the off season, I was like, well, I need my fix, so I brought up some highlight packages of the boys, and I was watching. I think it was Jack Hughes' 22-23 goal highlight videos, and the first like 2 or 3, every single one of them was started by a 150-foot stretch pass by Sevo.
He's so good at those.
All of them. It was like stretch pass to Holla over to Jack scores.
Yep.
Or stretch pass right at the blue line, right on Jack's stick, dip, dangle, goal. And it was like, Sevo.
No, he's so good at those. Those are my favorite things to watch.
Absolutely not going to look forward to when he absolutely destroys us with one of those this season, but absolutely looking forward to Jack undressing him for a highlight reel goal.
There you go.
It kind of reminds me of I was at the game right after we traded Rico, where he absolutely undressed Vatanen and Gord, and boom. It was like cheered for him, hats off, whole thing, but we still won the game, so it was awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I don't have anything else for you guys. This is episode 0, so we kind of want to keep it short. Yeah, you guys got anything else before we...
I'm just going to throw it out there. I think discussing the intricacies of Damon Severson is the best possible episode 0 we could have had.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah.
Hey, if there's one thing you want to do on a Devils podcast, it's talk about 0 Devils players on it. So
there you go. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Have a good one.
Jesper Bratt's the best player in the NHL.